So this is my first workout since just before Christmas because I've had a deload week. And I've actually had a bunch of our members in the UMS tribe ask me about deloading recently, talking about that they're feeling like they're in the state of overreaching and what should they do about it and what does deloading mean. And so there are different ways to deload, but my favorite way of deloading is to do 40% workout volume. So in the UMS we normally do, and what I normally do is 5 sets of my primary lift and then either 3 or 4 sets of supplementary. So in a deload workout, I would do 2 sets of my primary lifts and then either 1 or 2 sets of the supplementary lifts. And so that really gives your body enough time to recover, to adapt, to go through supercompensation and come back stronger and more capable. And if you are in a state of overreaching, which is basically where if nothing else changes, so if you haven't changed, like if you're not more stressed, if you haven't been drinking more alcohol or taking drugs or not getting good sleep or anything like that, if everything's the same, but you can't produce the same results in your workout as you could the week before, due to accumulation, like if you've been training consistently, then that's the state of overreaching, and that's when you could benefit greatly from deloading. Now, personally, I deload every week. I've been training in a way this past year because I've been working on building, max muscle, where I train 6 days a week, but on Friday and Saturday, I do a deload workout every week. So basically 3 out of every 7, and then on Sunday I don't do any lifting, any strenuous exercise. So basically I'm deloading for 3 out of every 4 days. But if you're not doing that, if you're doing more traditional training and if you're training, at a consistently high intensity every workout that you do every week, then there's different ways you can deload. You can deload you can do planned deloads, which could be like if you're somebody that's newer to training, a planned deload, or if you're really going for it, if you're pushing yourself really, really hard, you could do a planned deload every 4th week. So you train really hard for 3 weeks and then the 4th week you deload. Or you could do every 8th week. You could plan that every 8th week you could plan that every 12th week is a deload. There's no right or wrong way because it all depends on how hard you train. It all depends on whether you use ramp loading, where you're, each week, each workout, you're ramping up the load or ramping up the intensity, or whether you're just training at a consistent load. There's so many different ways, and it's some of it is objective, some of it is that you can objectively see when you need to deload, when you're in a state of overreaching, and then other parts of it is subjective. But what I do, usually every Christmas, I usually do a short period, up to a week, of little to no training. And I'll talk a little bit now about why I've just come out of that. So what is it today? The 29th of December, 2023. And I haven't trained since, actually, I went for a run on Christmas Day. So on Christmas Day, no, I didn't go for a run on Christmas Day. On Boxing Day, I went for a run, just a 20-minute run. But my last actual training session was Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve, I did a really intense workout. I was wrecked on Christmas Eve. So I did that because I wanted to I wanted to achieve supercompensation, get as much adaptation as I could over this recovery period. So it's a good opportunity for me, if I'm training intelligently, to really push myself right up to that point where I stop and I know that I'm taking 4 or 5 days of break, so that I can eat good food and I can, experience some adaptation. So, so I did that, and then I took this break up until now. And why I did that is because it's for somebody that's as consistent as me, and I train twice a day most days, so 6 days a week. It's pretty intense. It's a pretty rigid lifestyle. A lot of people call it obsessive, and it is compared to what other people, consider normal or obsessive. What I do is absolutely obsessive, but I love it and I do it for my reasons. But so taking that week of not training, over that Christmas period. It's the one time in the year where it really lets me decompress, and it is to do with my body, but in all honesty, it's more to do with my mind. Because I'm always, I follow programs. I don't just turn up, I was going to say to the gym, but I don't go to the gym. I work out at home. But I turn up to my workout space. I don't just turn up and go, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, yeah, I might do some of that. And I have a program that I follow, and I write my programs in 4-week mesocycles, and I'll follow that program, and then I'll write a new program for myself. And then the programs that were good, they go into the UMS app for our members to use if the program was good and I think it's worthwhile. But I'm constantly thinking. I'm always thinking, how is this workout? Is it good? Could it be better? Did this week deliver what I wanted it to? How do I need to adjust for next week? How is this going to affect my next program phase? So it's a lot of thinking, it's a lot of analysis, it's a lot of thought power going into it. And so to take this week of no training, it's an opportunity for me to, rather than think, and it's an opportunity to reflect. And so I really recommend that you all do this, because I think where I used to let myself down in the past is, this Christmas break was an opportunity to party. When I was younger, there was a lot of drinking, drinking at lunchtime that would go into the evening, and just, during weekdays, drinking when maybe you might only normally drink on weekends. Like, it was a real party season. And I don't know what it's like in the Northern Hemisphere, because I live in Australia, but in Australia, it's the hottest time of the year. It's beach season. So everybody's out, everybody's having a great time. And I don't do that anymore. I don't drink at all during the silly season, as we call it. I completely abstain, and I use it as an opportunity to reflect and plan and strategize. And it's a really good time to, think of what lessons have you learned in 2023. And we'll keep it on point for fitness. But for me, the things that I think of is, what have I learned in business? What have I learned in training? And what have I learned in, relationship and parenting? Those are the main areas that I really want to focus on in my life. And, an example for business, something that I'm learning, and that a trend that I'm seeing, is that I want to make more content like this, which is less about trying to figure out what others want to see, and rather share just what I like to do. And of course, I'm still going to do the video. Anybody that follows our channel and that likes the videos that we do, I'm still going to do these videos where I look at questions, and I create a video on how to fix golfer's elbow, or how to recover from a slap tear or something. But at the same time, I realized that over this past year, I haven't done much content that matters to me, that I want to do, like this stuff, sharing my training, sharing my thoughts, sharing the things that I've learned that are working for me. So that's an example of reflection with business. And then with training, I can reflect on what I've achieved, what I want to achieve next year. This year I had a really good result with my goal. My biggest goal was my number one goal was to build as much muscle as I could, especially in my chest, because my chest was so underdeveloped compared to the rest of my body. And when I reflected, when I suffered a slap tear in both shoulders a couple of years ago, the part of that reflection process was the real hard truth that I just wasn't strong enough, and I didn't have enough muscle mass to do the calisthenics movements that I was trying to work on. And so now that I've achieved a satisfactory amount of muscle mass in my upper body, that I can look at myself and go, yep, that's not a major weakness in my kinetic chains in my body, I can look towards bigger and more audacious goals. So this year or next year, 2024, I'm shifting my goals to, I want to be able to do a handstand push-up, I want to be able to do a one-arm pull-up. I still want to double the muscle mass in my chest, because it still is an imbalance in the muscle mass of my shoulders for structural balance. And I want to get really good at flow, at locomotion. That's something that I really enjoy doing that I didn't focus on in 2023, because I was focusing on building muscle mass. So today's my last deload workout before I go into my next program phase, which I'll start on Monday. So I'm going to do, this is bent arm strength today, so I'll work on some Pike push-ups and some weighted pull-ups, and then I'll just do a couple of supplementary lifts. So with calisthenics as an exercise-specific warm-up, I always do a regressed version. So if I'm working on a pike push-up, then I'll do a protracted push-up as my warm-up. So that's good. Just 3 or 4 reps of something that's preparing you for the exercise you're going to do as your primary lift, but that is less intense. And I'm doing a pronated medium grip pull-up, so weighted, so I'll get my weight vest and do a weight. So for a warm-up, I'll just do a body weight version. Three reps, all right, let's do it. I like to use this weight belt to measure the distance between my hands and my feet for my pike push-ups, just to make sure that I'm always, that each set is the same level of intensity, that I have that same distance between my hands and my feet. So those are going pretty well. I think I'm only maybe a week or so away from moving up in a progression. Gotta record my reps and weight now. I didn't do any weight because I was doing a pike push-up, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So I always record my reps, weight, everything that I do right after each set, so I don't forget it, because it's really important for for using progressive overload, to be able to, with progressive overload, like, accuracy is really important. It's not at least if you want to make the kind of progress that I want to make, it's not a vague thing. It's not like, I got 7 reps for all 5 sets at the end of the workout, where you might have got up for 7 reps, like as in you push yourself back up. But any rep, like on the pike push-up, if my back starts to sag or my shoulders retract as I'm pushing up, my knees bend a bit, or if I start going into dorsiflexion, so if I start shifting my weight back onto my feet, any of those things is a failed rep. So even if I got up 7 times, you don't record that failed rep, because then if I look that I got 5 sets of 7 reps, then I think, okay, well, I'll try 8 reps in this workout, but I'm not ready for 8 because I didn't actually get 7 reps in all those sets. And you don't remember those things. Well, I don't remember those things at the end of my workout. If I get through the whole workout and then I go, oh yeah, I think I did that. So it's much less important for beginners, because for people at the early stage of their training, you wouldn't be working on something like a pike push-up, and you wouldn't be working as close to max effort as I am. In the earlier stages of training, it's much more about about technique optimization. And with technique optimization, you can be more predictable with the amount of reps that you're going to do. Okay, so last workout I did 12 kilos, so 26.5 pounds. So we'll start on that, see how I go. Alright, so that was good. I got 2 reps where I got my chest to the bar and then 1 rep collarbone to the bar, but that's totally fine. As long as with a weighted pull-up, I'm happy as long as I get my mid-neck to the bar and I don't, throw the technique out the window. So that's good. Hey, this is the first video that I've uploaded in 4K as well. I'm going to start doing these videos in 4K because I think when 4K, was a thing first, the technology hadn't caught up yet. Not enough people were watching YouTube on 4K devices, but I think that's changed now. I think a lot of people are watching YouTube on 4K smart TVs now. So let me know if you appreciate the 4K. All right. So this is my second and final set for a deload workout. So I still strive for increases in intensity during deload. So if I was lifting weight, I'd still be looking to lift more weight. Or in the case of calisthenics like this, I'm still looking for increases in reps, which 8 reps is a nice little increase for me. So let's see how I go for this set. Whew. That was good. That box over there wasn't very fun to do my couch stretch on, so I'll come back to my couch and do the name of this stretch some justice. Get my timer going. So I time my recovery periods. So it's part of periodization, the amount of rest between sets. And I almost always do flexibility work during my rest periods to maximize the use of my time. And this is what we do with all the UMS workouts. So because I'm doing upper body strength, I'm doing pull-ups and pike push-ups. The muscles that I'm stretching right now, the hip flexors, they've got nothing to do with the strength work that I'm doing. So I am recovering the muscles that I need to recover to produce strength, my pushing and pulling muscles in my shoulders. But rather than just sitting there and doing nothing, I am doing flexibility for my lower body. And then, of course, vice versa. So, during recovery periods between lower body strength, I work on upper body flexibility. Because the other way to do it is that you either have to do all your flexibility after your strength work, which in my experience just never happens. People say, I'll do some stretching at the end of your strength training, but it's B-grade stretching. I mean, maybe you can do like hold a stretch for 30 seconds type stretching, but that's not even nearly, which is what I'm doing here. That's just hold a stretch for 30 seconds, yes. But I also do depending on what exercise I'm doing and what I'm pairing it with, I do end range strength and loaded stretching and things like that. And to do that kind of flexibility work, At the end of your workout, when you're fatigued and you've been training for 60 or 90 minutes, in my experience, it just doesn't happen, not to a good level. So then your other option is to do a second workout, which is a good option, but it's hugely demanding on your schedule. So, you know, most of the people that we work with and most of the people that I communicate with, not everybody I shouldn't say, but most of the people, are parents or aspire to be parents, you know, career-driven, family-oriented. And it is really hard to find 1 hour a day, even 5 days a week, to dedicate to exercise for those folks. So you have to make that 1 hour. It really has to tackle the three big rocks: strength, flexibility, and fitness. Those are the three things that without those three things, you don't have the solid foundation just to be able to, you know, enjoy life. If you lack either strength, flexibility, or fitness, then just when you try and do life, there'll be things that are hard for you. So that was 14 kilos, or what's that, 22, 9, I think that's about 32 or 31 pounds. I think I'll probably start with that on my next workout and have a goal to get up to 20 kilos or 44 pounds by the end of the cycle for pronated grip. I'm also going to work on a supinated grip, which I'm way stronger at. Can probably lift about double the weight on a supinated grip. So that'll be fun. See if we can get that in January. So now I'm doing some forearm work because I've been dealing with some golfer's elbow lately, and it's gotten so much better. I'm probably 95% healed, but it's still just sort of sitting there in the background, reminding me that I can't go to 100%. And if I try and work on one-arm pull-ups now, this will just annihilate me. That's how I got it the first time. I didn't know what I know now about load management and adaptation. And I got golfer's elbow working on one-arm pull-ups. So, you know, any little thing like that, it is just going to be the thing that comes undone when you try and do something like a one-arm pull-up, or if you try to progress to a calisthenics progression for handstand push-up where you can only manage like 1 to 3 reps per set. Like, that's very high intensity for you. And, you know, you should only be doing that kind of rep range with calisthenics when you're very experienced. I shouldn't say an expert, but definitely not a novice. You know, novices should be with calisthenics, you know, working it with that sort of 8 rep range, and then a trained beginner, so someone who still is working on beginner progressions, but who has, you know, 6 to 12 months, too much, 6 to 12 months experience. You can work on that 5 to 8 rep range. So an example of a trained beginner, as far as gymnastics standards go, I'm actually considered a trained beginner, even with my decades of experience of training, because of the progressions that I'm working on. When you look at them on the 15 levels of gymnastics progressions, the progressions that I'm working on are still considered in the beginner level, level 1 to 5. So I'm considered a trained beginner, somebody that's trained, that's not a complete novice, that knows how to work out, but is still working on beginner progressions. Fun fact. So I'll just do one more set of these. Normally I'd do 3, but, you know, it's a deload workout. So here we go. I don't do too much rest between these exercises because it's not a compound lift, and I don't mind if I can't do, maximal effort and perfect technique or anything like that. It's really just about getting volume into the muscles. And also, because my workouts take quite a while, there has to be some part of it where I'm just sort of cranking through it, getting it done. Whew. All right, we're getting there. Oh man, feel that. Let me know what your goals are. What are you going to work on next year? What are you reflecting on? Are you going to do a reflection exercise? And tell me if you like the 4K. I want to know, because it's a lot bigger file size to play around with editing and uploading. But love to know if you appreciate it. And my intention for next year, another goal of mine, is that I want to do one of these for every single one of my workouts that I do. So that means, because I'm a content creator now and I'm doing all this stuff for YouTube, it kind of feels like it's a wasted opportunity to not be sharing this stuff with you guys. So, I work out twice a day. I do strength and flexibility in one workout, and then I do handstands and locomotion and flow in another workout. So feels like it's a good opportunity to share what I do with you guys if I film those and upload them. So that's my intention for 2024, to do all my workouts Monday to Saturday. So I won't, next week I'm still on vacation, and I'll do what I can do next week, but I'll be hitting the ground running on the 8th of January. So look out for it.